Hey guys, and welcome back to the third and final installment of the CPM Chronicles. Yes, this is actually CPM, not ChickenWing. I feel kind of cruel keep calling it ChickenWing. He's actually one of the nicest guys I've ever met, and I'm glad to have him as my community rep for Dust 514. Guys, the next upcoming segment's all about the CPM Zero, CPM 1 candidates. Pin your ears back, take a listen, crack open a cold beer, get the popcorn ready. So get a lot of popcorn. Just get a lot of popcorn. Because as we all know, the rat race has truly begun for the CPM candidates. So much tears, so much drama. Right, guys, thanks very much for watching. Take a seat, take a listen, and enjoy the rest of this video. But my question to you is, the CPM 1 candidacies, is there actually a need? I'm not trying to jump on a CEO Pyrex's bandwagon. I'm just trying to figure out for myself, is there actually a need for a CPM 1? Because the CPMs are primarily, as you've said, Dust 514, okay? Legion is going to be the next step for Dust. They don't have, or would they have a, as you said, limited involvement? Is there a need for them, CPM 1s? Or should you just, like, dare I say it, call it quits on the CPMs, current CPMs, and then obviously go full development for Legion, and then have an election for the Legion CPMs? Or is that just me talking on my ass, or is that
again?
Like what? Again, or is that just me being misinformed?
So, I mean, I totally take your point there, and that's absolutely one way you could go about it, right?
But
in
that's
my
not
opinion,
that's not involving the community. You see, no CPMs means no
Exactly.
community involvement. It means you guys will be telling us, whereas we should be telling you. You're the developers making the game for us. No CPMs means no community involvement. This is why I'm sort of stuck between the two ideas, you know.
Well, I mean, I mean, it's not as black and white as that, right? It's not
No,
like
yeah,
no CPM,
I
no
understand.
community
I
involvement, and
understand.
CPM equals community involvement, because the important thing above all of this is that we value the current community we have. Like I do. I mean, look, let's put it this way: if we didn't have a community around Dust 514, I would be out of a job. So
No,
obviously
true,
we value
true.
it enough. So
Yeah.
I mean, I it's an interesting question, and we kind of had a discussion, but like it kept coming back to CPM Zero. Part of their difficulty was having someone here and setting up processes and this sort of thing, and we feel like we're starting to get into a bit more of a groove and a rhythm around that, and I think they absolutely, CPM 1 will have an integral part to play in the development of Dust and in Project Legion. And I deal with the CPM on a daily basis, and it can go from just ludicrous Skype conversations to being incredibly useful stuff, reporting bugs or whatever, feedback on features that we may be working on, or kind of raising community issues to us. And I mean, putting aside the fact that, okay, it's a CCP thing to have councils, I still think that there's an incredibly valuable thing that we can get from them there. And I actually spoke to CEO Pyrex. I've spoken to him a few times, and I've seen the video that you're talking about here. And okay, he said some pretty uncool stuff at the time, but I told him that too. I said, look, man, that's not very cool. And we've had a lot of follow-up discussions since, and he's actually kind of retracted a lot of those statements publicly in other videos too. So I think it's an interesting question you pose, but in my opinion, it's important that we keep ourselves as close to the community as possible.
Oh no, totally.
And this is just another way that we can do that. And and look, let's put it this way. Regarding Dust 514, these are the people who probably know the game better than even we do. And regarding Project Legion, these are the guys who will know what players or the community want us to give to them. And to me, it seems like, well, this is a win-win. Like, why would you not have that? I mean,
Yeah, no, absolutely.
they're and it just, to me, it makes complete sense. Like there is a investment of time and an investment of money that goes into all this stuff too, and of course that gets weighed up. But like, I think everyone here at CCP believes in it. Otherwise, we wouldn't have gone ahead with it. So
No, totally. And don't get me asking these questions as me being a bit of a dick. I just genuinely want to know. Honestly, I just genuinely want to know. I'm not trying to be stirring the pot of fucking shitness. I'm just honest to God, dude. I just want to know. From yourself, and I prefer to hear it from the horse's mouth rather than the third party's fucking donkey's farce, whatever. You know? So I'd much sorry for swearing. It's just I just want to hear it from someone that actually knows what they're talking about, rather from the donkey from the third person's arse. If you know what I mean? I
get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
But
And
it's actually very reassuring, believe it or not.
But do we have a time
I get it.
time scale on the elections at the moment? Has that been announced? I know the elections have been announced, but not a date. I don't think, is it?
So we haven't announced an official date for the elections yet, but I think what the I think there is a date in the candidacy announcement saying that the call for candidacy is until June 30th, I believe. So that's approximately a month.
Okay.
And so that gives people, 4 to 5 weeks to get their candidacy in, and in that time we will be taking the applications and everything, and doing a vetting process if there is one at all, and then I imagine elections will follow somewhat shortly after that, but I don't think they've actually been planned out yet.
Okay.
There's logistical stuff we have to work out here, which are currently being worked out, which is like, for example, we need an election hub. We need the actual back end website to be created so that we can actually run an election online. So there's stuff like that that's still getting worked on currently.
I can see several trolls coming from that one. Here's a link to the election. Click. Go to the next porn site.
I wish. Hey, that would be awesome. I wish I could. I think something like this, I don't think I could get away with it. So.
No, maybe not.
I see a troll coming on.
So I think a lot of people would be happy that they're going to be able to actually vote on who they want to be CPM, and I think then a lot of people's objections to CPM can
disappear and fall away by the wayside. Yeah, totally. Right. My next question about the community, CyberWing, is obviously, are there any CPM candidates currently running? Because I know there's quite a few that have been announced that you like. I have idea for, good idea, bad idea, that sort of thing. Just talking about the current candidates.
So there are, of course, but I don't think it's super fair for me to say.
No, fair play. I just thought I'd stick the question out there. Fair play, fair play.
I just think anything I say could come across as
could be worded either way. No, fair enough.
And people might use that to their advantage in a campaign or whatever. So I'm just gonna stay out of this and let you guys decide, and then I'll be stuck with them. So
okay,
absolutely.
No, that is actually the correct way to actually do it, I think. Having said that, what are you looking for in a CPM candidate and someone that will actually be elected and nominated for the candidacy and the actual seat for CPM? What are you personally looking for?
That's actually a totally fair question. I think there's a lot of different qualities I think we look for, and if you ask me to paint my perfect candidate, I can kind of do that. It's someone who understands just 5-on-4, the ins and outs of the game incredibly well, and probably more importantly, they understand the ins and outs of the community and their desires and wants and needs and that sort of thing incredibly well. At the same time, we're looking for a certain level of professionalism. Ultimately, it's a professional relationship, right? It's super fun.
True.
We're making games. Games are awesome, but at the same time, it's still a professional relationship. And as awesome as it is, coming home to Skype and seeing 5,000 messages about game balance, it's not, it's not exactly the way I'd carry myself. So just certain things like that. But ultimately, I'm looking for someone who's passionate and professional and kind of understands, I guess, where our thinking's at. We, like I said, we care a lot about our community. I personally do. I spend all day dealing with them in one way or another, and I want people who feel the same sort of way and have that sort of vision for the long run for both the game and the community, and that's it, really. That's what I'm looking for.
No, fair enough. Someone who's open to new aspects and willing to disagree with the developers as much as agree with them on certain things that are good ideas. So you're not looking for people that are specialists, people who have got agendas, people who've got their own sort of, their own sort of trolling nature about the game. You're not looking for people like that. I'll take it.
No, I've seen some people saying, "Oh, I'm gonna run and I'm gonna leak every secret CCP has or whatever."
Well, no, that's just not how you do it.
Not going to quite get through the vetting process there.
Yeah, ultimately, exactly. Ultimately, if you're looking at, if you have any sort of train of thought like that, just ask yourself if it's even worth your time. This is something that we want people who are honestly passionate about this, passionate about the product, about the vision, about the community, about the players, and you're gonna have to deal with me a lot. So it's about
Which could be a
thinking that
problem
it's
for them.
yeah,
you know.
it's a big problem. I mean,
Oh,
I am the
no.
worst
God,
person to talk to.
blimey, O'Reilly.
So I mean, it's people have a lot of agendas, and they say, oh, I'm gonna represent scouts or whatever, and it's like, well, that's not really what we're looking for. We're not looking to try and improve one person's agenda or one class's role or one faction's role or anything like that. It's about delivering on this vision and finding the best way to do that in a realistic and professional way. And I'll just say I've seen a lot of candidates, and for the most part, I'm pretty pleasantly surprised. There's a lot of people
Yeah,
out there
actually,
running who are
I think there's some
great.
good
So
stuff out there. Actually, if there's some good candidates, I think they'll come up pretty quickly. Should prove some interesting times for you guys and for us.
Prove some very interesting times. My next,
so-
sorry, carry on, Seb. When you were going to say
No,
something, sorry.
I was just gonna say, so like, I mean, whoever it is, whoever does get voted in, like, I'm excited to work with them because I think, like I said, these guys have CPM Zero have been in office for a while now, and they're probably a little tired, and I totally respect that. So
Yeah.
it's always good to get new blood in,
Yeah.
and people who are interested and excited and invigorated to work on this. Like I mean, I'm really excited to work with people like that too. So whoever it is, I'm sure it'll be awesome, and I'm sure they'll do a great job. So
And we know how much time and effort it takes. We've spoken to quite a few CPM Zero members, and it's like having a second job. And sometimes I think I'd love to be on the CPM. There's no way on this earth I could give that much time. Is to do it, and so I do have respect for the guys who go for it, and I hope the people who do go for it do realise that they're it's a lot of hard work, because I know that it is.
Oh yes, a lot of hard work goes into being a CPM. Booker, you have some more questions for ChickenWing. Crack on, dude.
Well, I just wanted to sort of bring a couple of things together, really, just kind of like with Dust. So linking these two things, like, will we see any new features or just refinements in Dust? And as an extension of that, has there been any discussion about using Dust as like a testing ground for new features that you may be thinking about for Legion?
So I mean, we said this at FanFest too, and the honest truth is that we don't know exactly yet. And there's things that we would like to do, and it's about whether or not it will be feasible. And by feasible, I don't necessarily just mean like whether or not we're going to do the features at all, but more like whether or not the infrastructure will be there around either the game. If Project Legion is going to develop in a different direction, then there may be things that will be there that won't be in Dust, and that's the truth. But there will be, or hopefully will be, some stuff that we'll be able to apply to both games. And when you say using it as a test bed for features in Legion, I mean, look, we would be super silly to not take all the learnings from Dust and do what we can to make the best of that information. I mean, we're learning all the time, and you hear that every studio does this with every game. Is that you monitor things and you collect data and you gather information and you make a better product at the end of it, because that's how you learn from things, and that's how you find out what players want. And you guys, and by that I mean the community, are way better at playing our game than we are, because you're super invested in it. You love it, and game the system as much as possible, and that's totally fine. And I do that too. A lot of the games I play, I do the same thing. I min-max everything to death, and like, so you open up. I mean, it's totally fine, and that's very much what Eve is, that side of the game anyway, and so is Dust, and the whole community, I think, has kind of been built around that mentality somewhat. So that's awesome, and it helps like reveal flaws in our thinking, or it kind of exposes things that we didn't even realize were there, and we learn from that all the time. So there will be some of that, and even when we're talking about things like balance, like for example, Hotfix Alpha is going in and making some adjustments there, trying to get the game to a more balanced state, and we will absolutely use it as much as a learning tool as we possibly can, because I mean, I think any game studio making any game, or any sort of game that is a service as an ongoing thing, will do that, because it helps you make a better product at the end of the day.
Brilliant. So because I'm thinking you could practice by maybe transferring that tree asset into Dust. It'd be really good practice, wouldn't it?
Only if it's on
God damn
fire.
you, Booker, really?
Only if it's
Why the
only
trees,
if it's
dude?
on
Drop
place.
the freaking trees.
No, mate,
Really, Booker?
my gun game is so bad. I need every freaking thing I can find to hide behind. You know, and it's just like the perfect example of something else I can hide behind. So yeah, I just thought it'd be something good to practice with.
I honestly don't know. I think it would be the artist would probably be able to say more about that. The honest truth is I actually don't know why there are no trees and dust, but I think the artist would know. And something I really want to do, community stuff going forward, is I've mentioned this a bunch of times, but I'm kind of getting closer to actually making this happen now. Is doing some sort of live streams, just getting in front of a camera, similar, I guess, kind of to how we're doing here, but really pulling a dev with me, going on Twitch, doing a live stream, doing a Q&A.
Fantastic.
And doing it ad hoc when we can. I mean, like, people are pretty busy and it's taking time out of their day, and it might be once a month, it might be once every couple months, but just kind of building up some sort of informal communication, but with the community.
Get the message
and the
out there.
developers.
Yes.
That'd be fantastic.
So I think, getting an artist in front of the camera and being like, why are there no trees? I think it'd be actually interesting to hear why there are no trees. I actually don't know the answer to that, so...
Call yourself a community manager.
I know. I should be planting trees everywhere.
Yeah, I know. So, certainly putting out the fires anyway. And,
not on trees. Only trees you have on fire, remember?
Let them
Make 'em
burn.
burn.
I like your style, Saberwing. I like your style.
So do we have any, as just looking forward ahead, and I expect you probably don't have any kind of answer for this, but of course we all know that Legion isn't green lighted yet. I mean, is there any roadmap where it gets presented for green lighting, where you think you've got to the point where you could say, okay, CCP, are we green lighted or not? Is there any timescales involved in that?
I'm probably not the right person to ask this question to.
No.
The honest truth is that I think there's constantly evaluations going on over a product, and and we're trying to make it to the best of our ability, and I think it's going to take probably a little while before we have that answer, to be honest. And as I say, I'm probably not the best person to answer that, just because I don't really know. I'm not involved in those conversations, unfortunately. So it's more. I mean, as I say, we need Hilmar to tick that box, and be like, yep, we're gonna make it a game, and that's kind of what we're all working towards here, and that's what everyone wants to happen. Yeah, I mean, that's
really
what we all want.
It'd be a great day when we hear that actual green light has been given. So, because we all want this game. We definitely all want this game.
Oh, I mean, us in the studio more than you. Like we spend all day every day working on it, and we would love nothing more than to make this reality. And yeah, I do love the Greenlight Legion campaign. I think that's super fun, and like people are being awesome and spamming Hilmar's Twitter feed with it. So super funny. Keep it going.
I've done that once or twice myself, I will admit.
Yeah, do it. And
I've actually found a use for Twitter at last.
So we're going to spam
cool.
his Twitter tomorrow.
Yeah.
The spam have a guy. Who is he? He's another ginger bearded twat like yourself, dude.
You don't want
Yes,
another
mate.
court order, man. So calm it down.
Right, well, Booker, I have one last question for yourself, CCP Saberwing. My next question is, why has the dust office of CCP been moved to Shanghai? Why was it put in Shanghai in the first place? Why wasn't it in, Norway or America or Canada? Why Shanghai?
So I wasn't here for that. I mean, Dust is the original development of Dust was. I mean, it goes back a number of years. I actually think that CCP Praetorian and CCP Lecard, I believe, gave a talk on like the foundations of when Dust was created at Vegas. I think this last year. So there's probably a lot of history there for you. My understanding is that CCP Praetorian was over here, and I mean, I think the Shanghai office was traditionally set up here for Eve China, right? We have Serenity here.
Yes.
Right.
So that's the initial foundation of the studio, as it were. And I don't know the exact story because I'm not CCP Praetorian, and he's down where I normally sit and not here. And he would probably know, but my understanding is that he was one of the founders of it with CCP Lickyard, and they came up with this idea for creating a first-person shooter in New Eden, and went through several iterations of that, and it eventually grew and grew until what we know of as CCP Shanghai now, and Dust 514, and I mean very, very recently Project Legion. So I think it was just down to location at the time and China and that sort of thing. So I don't think there was any sort of reason to say, hey, let's go to China and make this game. I don't think that was the case. So,
let's pick up and
Spam's
go to the
curious
Far
mind.
East.
yeah, I'll tell you what, it's pretty cool for me. I mean, I get to live over in China for a couple of years, and that's awesome. And I'd never even been to China before I moved over here, so it's pretty awesome. So
Yeah, nice one.
Well, Booker, that was a very interesting conversation with His Majesty CCP Chicken Saberwing. Right, dude. Conclusions, Booker, draw yours, mate, please.
Well, all I can say is thank you for Saberwing for spending the time with us. It's been really excellent, enlightening conversation, and an education into the state of the internet connection that Shanghai actually doesn't have on, on many occasions. But all I can say is that if you compare the community input from CCP to now from say this time last year, well, there isn't any comparison, so you must be doing something right. CCP thankfully is involving us all, and a lot more of what's going on with your future plans, and I can only thank you for that. And yeah, look forward to how the future pans out. Thank you very much.
Yes, Booker, I can't agree with you more there. CCP Saberwing, dude, please tell us your conclusions and if anything else you want to say, dude.
Well, you two are insane. It's my first conclusion, and it's super fun. Like, no, I love it. I love talking to players, and like I said, I follow your channel, and we watch
You need
your
a
office
lobotomy
quite often.
tomorrow, mate.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen a lot of your guys' content, and I love it, and it's nice light viewing in the morning, so that's beautiful. Talking about
what we're here for.
communities, yeah, exactly. Talking about community stuff. I mean, partially, I guess you could attribute it to me, and thank you. I'll take all the credit for that. No. The truth is, though, we have a lot of guys here who are, very excited about it, and none the least is CCP Rouge himself. I mean, he's been pushing this from the very top, encouraging devs to come and post, and he's, like I said, he's CCP Broge. He's been pushing it from the very top, yeah. And I'm really hoping, we're going to be able to do some very cool stuff and share a lot more content with the community and get them involved as much as possible going forward. And like I said, that changes all the way up the ladder here. So it's not just the community guys. So thanks a lot for having me, guys. I mean, it's been fun, and hopefully we'll do this sort of thing again in the future. So,
Oh, dude, definitely. It's been an absolute cracking time having you on. The 3 disconnects were by the bar, but yeah, fun had all around. I've had several pints of cider, so it's all good. It's all good.
Getting
right,
started
well,
early.
sorry, mate.
Yeah.
Getting started early.
Yeah.
You know me. Right, well, my conclusion from the chat. Again, Booker has stolen all my sort of lines that I was going to draw there. And I can't draw very well because I'm a mentality of a 5-year-old. All I've got to say is, CCP Saberwing, thank you very much for joining us today and talking to us about FanFest itself, Legion, and the CPM nominations and candidates. Thank you very, very much for spending time out of your day to come and talk to us. Cheers. Thank you very, very much.
No worries, guys. Thank you.
So I think that draws us to a close. Don't forget, I'm not gone. Sometime soon, I will be in a reticule near you.
Bye!
3 gay bars, first time ever. Yay! Oh my God.
You've now cracked your gay bi virginity.
I have. That's it. I'm addicted now.
Yeah.
And there we have it, guys. Our 2-hour conversation with CCP Saberwing. Condensed down to these 3 videos, which is roughly an hour. Yes, a lot more was said between Saberwing, Booker, and myself, but for the sake of pacing and the sake of conveyance, I've obviously split the video up into these 3 segments, and then obviously aired these ones. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I want to know what you guys are thinking. I want to know what your frustrations are, and so on, guys. Please comment either the video below or on the forum itself, guys. thank you very much for watching, and enjoy the rest of your beer and popcorn. Cheers, guys. Thanks.